try it again. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Thanks for catching that. Sorry. Okay.
Thanks again, Randy, for having me. Appreciate it. And thanks everybody for being here today. I'm going to be talking first about my background and my startup story. I started my own hedge fund in 2012. It was a long-term dream of mine. I'll talk about that. I'm going to be talking about 5 of the 9 Money Rules Millionaires Use, my recent bestseller. I'll go into 5 of the rules, and if you guys have questions afterwards, I can go into some of the other 4. I'll talk about affirmations, and I think we'll have plenty of time for questions and answers. This is my background and history. You'll see now working as a master prosperity coach. As Randy mentioned, I've written 2 books, Mindful Money Management and The 9 Money Rules Millionaires Use. 2018, 2019. I'll get into a little bit why I'm doing what I'm doing in a few minutes, but many of you know, I know probably Mary, Karen, and Todd all know what an actuary is, but let me just explain the difference between an actuary and an accountant. An actuary looks at his feet when he talks to you, an accountant looks at your feet when they talk to you. They say an accountant is an actuary with charisma. So I'm not the typical actuary, but I was working as an actuary and taking all those exams. I actually became a fellow of the Society of Actuaries and didn't really love my day job. But during taking those exams, I actually had to take an exam related to investments. And I was doing some investing on my own, and it hit me, if I could align my hobby and my career, it wouldn't be work, it would be play. And that would be a true dream. But I had no money management experience. I didn't have an MBA in finance. And so I talked to some actuaries on Wall Street and finally got one who didn't say stay being an actuary. He actually said, here's the path. But everyone else I talked to said, don't change jobs. You have the best job in the country. In fact, on the cover of Forbes magazine in 1992 was the actuary as the #1 job in the country. I had been making $110,000 at 27 years old. That's over $400,000 in today's dollars. And of course, I had taken 7 years, 7 years of my life, studying for about 10 months a year to pass all those exams. So why switch? Well, I had a dream. But I got a lot of doubt from all those actuaries. In fact, my mom even said, Joel, don't switch. You're making a ton of money. So I teach my clients now, #doubt the doubt. Doubt your doubt, as opposed to have faith in your dreams, as opposed to have faith in your doubt, have faith in your dreams and desires. But I didn't know this stuff back then, so I had a lot of doubt. And that's why it took me 15 years, as you see, to get to Citi as a portfolio manager. So you guys can get there a lot quicker. And maybe you're already living your dream. Or maybe you're thinking about what your dream is. But it's not going to take you 15 years. Because I'm going to teach you some tricks today, and if you want, we can go into more tricks in one-on-one coaching or group coaching. So I got the idea from this guy. Here's the path you need to take to become a portfolio manager. So I started on that path. I got a job at Moody's Investor Service as a credit analyst. I actually rated it. For you guys who are insurance salespeople, I rated the insurance creditworthiness, the insurance financial strength, the claims paying ability of those insurance companies. And then I went to Swiss Re first doing private investing, then as a credit risk manager. And I got my first job on the dark side as a hedge fund manager in 2004. That was close, one step away from my dream. And then in 2007, I got a call from my Citigroup sales guys saying, Joel, we're starting a new group. Would you like to be a portfolio manager? I'm like, oh my God, that's my dream. So some of you may remember 2008 was not the best year in the stock market. Market was down 40% that year. Financial stocks, the only stocks I was managing, were down 57%. I managed to make a little bit of money in 2008 for Citi and for my fund, but it was really trial by fire. And 25% of my colleagues were laid off. I managed to stick around for another 3.5 years and made more money in 2009. They gave me even more money to manage in 2010. At the peak, I was managing almost 700 million for Citi, and probably would still be there today, but a law was passed that said banks can't own hedge funds, which actually gave me the kick in the butt to start my own company, which I probably would not have done, which was my true dream. So I started my own hedge fund, raised the money, and we'll get to that in a bit more detail in a few seconds, and then shut it down. And I shut down my hedge fund, which some may say, Joel, that was your dream. It took you 15 years. And then in 3.5 years, you shut it down. Why? Well, let me explain. I went to a personal development course, and two things happened that changed my life. One was that there was a guest speaker speaking about stocks and stock options. And when he started speaking about stock options in particular, he made it sound like it was a get-rich-quick scheme. You don't need much time. You don't need much money. This is how the rich people get rich. And options are essentially riskless, right? I was sick to my stomach. I had people tapping me on the shoulder, whispering in my ear, Joel, does this make sense? So after we was done, we left the auditorium. I said, please don't do this. He has no idea about your earnings or cash flow or risk tolerance or tax status. And most importantly, he has no idea about your belief that you can make money in stock options. We'll talk about beliefs in a second too. Second thing that happened was we were given a wooden board this thick, 2 inches. Anybody ever do this? We were told we're gonna break it with our bare hand. Anybody? A lot of fear in that room. 45 minutes, the instructor gave us instructions on how to break the board. The exercise was called Obstacles or Illusions. And on one side of the wooden board, we had to write our biggest obstacle. And on the other side in green, our ultimate goal. So I wrote my biggest obstacle, raising enough money for my hedge fund for it to be a long-term viable entity. And then on the other side, I wrote my ultimate goal, making everybody in this room financially free. And then I broke that board like everyone else did in that room. I went home that night and I couldn't sleep. 3:30, 4 in the morning. That wooden board was staring back at me, actually half the wooden board, making everybody in this room financially free. And then I was thinking about that guy. I kept on going over and over. If I could ever get up the courage to speak in front of 200 people, I could do a better job than he did. For me, he was at the very least misleading. Some may say lying to these people. And I could be authentic. But my biggest fear in life in December 2015 was public speaking. Well, how do I overcome that? I don't know if I ever can overcome that one. But I have. So it's 5:30 in the morning. I get dressed. I take the train into Manhattan, go into my office on 54th and 6th, and I sent an email to my investors telling them I'm giving them their money back. I'm shutting down my fund because I found my true purpose. And so now, yes, I am helping people become financially free so they don't have to work if they don't want to. All I do is teach. I don't sell any insurance or annuities. I'm not a financial planner or advisor. All I do is teach and coach, and I teach people how to change their mindset around money from limiting beliefs to empowering beliefs. You were taught a lot about money growing up. You may not remember it, but you were taught, consciously or subconsciously. So I teach people how to change those beliefs. I teach people what a stock or a bond is. And if they want to go deeper, I can go into my 5-step proprietary stock screen that's in my book, or real estate screen that's in my book, or any other asset class. I am now a chartered financial analyst as well. And I also teach people personal finance. What's a credit score, how to improve your credit score, how to budget. I have a game in my book called The Budget Game. And I also teach people what their financial freedom number is. So you guys can see my screen again, right? So let's back up. It's December 2012. And I had orally gotten an agreement from 2 different investors that they were going to give me money to invest. I was all set. So I hired my lawyer, my accountant, my auditor, my prime broker. I even moved into prime real estate space on 54th and Madison Avenue. I could actually see from my window Madison Avenue. I felt like I'd arrived. It was December 17, 2012. And I called up both those investors. And within 2 weeks, both of them had backed out. I had no pipeline. I had no money. I had cash flow going out, not in. So what did I do? I could have given up. But this was my dream for the last 15 years. And I was this close. So I acted as if we already had the money. How did I do that? Well, I hired the analyst I was going to hire in January of 2013. And we had morning calls at 8:30 every morning talking about the stocks we were quote unquote invested in. We went to conferences to meet with the companies that we were invested in. We even called up the CFOs of those companies, asking them the tough questions. And I did something even more crazy. I put together a spreadsheet of the stocks we were invested in long and the stocks we were betting that were going to go down short. And every day I calculated the amount of money we were making. Sean, we had a great day today. Good job. Keep it up. Or Sean, we just lost $1 million. We got to rejigger this portfolio. What are we doing here? Day after day, we acted as if we had the money, calculating how much money we made or lost each day. And the end of January, I had a particularly good meeting with one potential investor. And 6 weeks later, we had a written agreement from that investor telling us they were going to give us money. And I truly believe by acting as if we already had the money, we got the money. Rule number 4 in the 9 money rules is visualizing. And I was doing visualizing almost every day when I was going out and meeting with investors. How? Well, I put together a slide to show them where we were going to be, my vision for the company. I showed them how many employees we would have. I showed them the amount of assets we were managing in just a few years, the structure, the organizational chart, the mission statement, all the compliance terms for a large company like that. So let me quickly go through the 6 visualization steps that you guys can use each day in your own business to create your dreams and create the future business that you want. So the first step is to pick a place where you're going to visualize. I recommend not doing it in your bed 2 minutes after you get up or right before you go to sleep. Maybe the living room would be a nice place. So pick a place. The second step is to pick the time you're going to do it. Be consistent, 9 in the morning every day, 8 at night, whatever time it is, but write down what time you're going to do it, and then write the amount of time. I don't recommend doing it for more than 10 minutes. You want to get to your day, you want to take action, but visualizing is powerful, 3 to 10 minutes. The fourth step is to actually, before you start visualizing, write down 3 dreams or desires you actually want to achieve. And the fifth step may be the most important step. Wayne Dyer, in his book, Wishes Fulfilled, said, make your future dream a present reality by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Make your future dream a present reality by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. So what if you could feel the feeling of your dream or desire already have being achieved? How happy would you feel? How abundant and prosperous? So think about that feeling, and if you could feel that feeling now before it's achieved, that's really powerful. And step 6 is to put yourself into the visualization. I have a hard time with this, but some people can do it. You're looking down on the scenario and you see yourself in that big mansion or driving that dream car or on that vacation or in that business and you're on the top floor in the corner office. So if you could visualize yourself being in that visualization, awesome, even better. So I'm going to talk to you now about 5 of the 9 money rules, 5 big secrets to having more money. And BIG is an acronym. So let me ask you guys a question. Raise your hand if you would like to have less money. Don't see any hands. Okay, raise your hand if you'd like to have more money. And raise both hands if you want to have the 5 big secrets to having more money. Okay. So B stands for beliefs. And we'll start there. Because I will tell you that this is the most important rule of the 9 money rules. And I tell my clients to write down their level of belief in each investment idea from 1 to 10. When 1 is massive doubt, there's no way I'm going to make money in this investment. And 10 is absolute faith. I know this is going to make money. So let me give you an example. 2 guys buy Bitcoin. Anybody hear of Bitcoin? November 27, 2017. The first guy, he's done his research. He's read the white papers. He knows he's going to make money. He's a 10. The second guy, he's got a tip from a buddy of his who says, dude, get involved. It's up 8 times this year. It's going higher. He says, okay. It seems risky. It seems speculative. Okay, I'll do it. He's a 1. So they both buy Bitcoin, $8,000, November 27, 2017. 3 days later, it's up at 10,000. The first guy says, see, I told you I was going to make money on Bitcoin. The second guy says, I hope it doesn't go back down. And a few days later, it's back down at 8,000. And the first guy says, this is the best buying opportunity out there. And he buys more. The second guy, he sells. He is so grateful he didn't lose money on Bitcoin. 3 weeks later, Bitcoin's at its all-time high, $19,500. The first guy sells then. He's made almost 250% on his money in less than 1 month. So B stands for beliefs. Just going to fast forward for a second and show you a picture of some faith or absolute belief. The picture on the right where I'm standing on the top of the rock at Wainupichu overlooking Machu Picchu. It was actually the cover of my book, The 9 Money Rules. So that's me 2 years ago. And the picture on the left of me on the vine is actually me climbing down the vine. I was about 10 feet higher. Imagine a 55-year-old guy climbing a vine in front of 20 people, taking pictures and actually praying as well, or being connected to a rock that's supposed to have some pretty powerful powers. Yeah, I'm not typical 55-year-old, I guess, but maybe I was a monkey in a prior life. I don't know. But I had faith that I was going to come down, climb up, and climb down. I had absolute faith and absolute belief. So let's talk about I. I stands for intuition. And I will tell you, as a former hedge fund manager, if I didn't trust my intuition, I either made less money or I lost money. And my clients today ask me, Joel, how do I develop my intuition? I say, exercise your intuition every chance you get. You're in Manhattan. You're on the subway platform. The local train's sitting there, but the express is coming in 2 minutes. What do you do? Local, express, local, what do you do? Trust your intuition. Every Thursday morning, up until a few months ago, I was driving my daughters to school. And we had options. We could take the local roads, we could go highway, or we could hitchhike. Just kidding. Now, generally, my intuition would tell me, take the highway. But this one particular morning, the highway's all backed up with traffic. But my intuition was still screaming at me, take the highway. But my intellect, nah, local roads. So I go local. And immediately my stomach's in knots. I hear the sirens. I see the flashing lights. Because I didn't trust my intuition, it cost me a $150 speeding ticket. And to this day, my daughters tease me and call me Speedy Pants. Let me give you an investment example related to intuition. It's early 2008. We had done our analysis. We knew that AIG, American International Group, was overvalued. So we shorted it. We bet it was going to go down. A couple of months later, my analyst comes to me. He says, Joel, based on my analysis, it's going back up. I looked at his analysis. My intellect agreed with him, but my intuition, my stomach was very upset. Don't touch it, it was telling me. But I listened to my intellect, I listened to my analyst, and we get out. 2 days later, it's down 10%, and my intuition is screaming at me, it's going lower. So we get back in. We short it again, we bet it's gonna go lower. 4 months later, we've made 60% on our money by trusting my intuition. So I stands for intuition, and G stands for giving. Well, the first G. I'm pretty sure there's no financial advisor out there that's going to tell you to give your money away. But I will tell you, this may be the fastest way to financial freedom. Sir John Templeton, some say the best investor of all time, was quoted, and he started the Templeton Funds, by the way, for those of you who don't know him. He started the Templeton Funds in the 1950s, and he sold it to Franklin Funds in the 1990s for almost $1 billion. And he started with just a few thousand. So that's why some consider him the best of all time. So he said he hadn't met anybody who hadn't given at least 10% of his earnings each year over a 10-year period to charity, who didn't have massively more wealth at the end of the 10 years than at the beginning. Now, I know what you're thinking. Joel, if I give my money away, I have less money. How does that work? Well, let me explain. Money is just energy, and by putting it out into the world, it must flow back to you. The other thing that's going on is you're changing your mindset. You're telling your subconscious, I got plenty to spare and share. And then you do. Now, giving doesn't have to be about money, just about money, of course. You could give your time to somebody in need. You could give a smile to a stranger, a compliment to a stranger. You could even give a speech to a Texas networking group. Giving can indeed change the world. So I'm going to give something to you guys right now. This is a white paper I wrote. Some have said it's priceless. It's the 5 mistakes new millionaires make. And if you're not a millionaire yet, I'm going to ask you to act as if you are by texting to the number 66866, 9 Money Rules, no spaces, like the name of my book, and you'll get this free white paper. You'll learn what mistakes not to make as a new millionaire. So let's talk about being happy, or not so being happy. It's July 1st, 2015. I have my own hedge fund, and I'm on the train, Metro North train, on the way into Manhattan. And we're stopped at the 125th Street Harlem station when I check my phone and get the news. One of the stocks we were betting was going to go down was going to get acquired for a 30% premium. I was literally in pain. My stomach was in knots, and I literally had tears in my eyes. I felt like I had let my investors down. I let myself down. It was clearly going to be the worst day of my career as a hedge fund manager. So what did I do? I think Ricky will enjoy this. I put on a song by the 5 Stair Steps. Some of you may know it. It's called Ooh Child. You guys hear? Yes, someday things were going to get easier. Someday things were going to get brighter. Not that day, but I walked into my office, 54th and 6th at the time, and took off my headphones and had my colleagues listen to the song too, because I knew how bad a day it was going to be, and they did too. And as that day went on and things didn't get much better, you can't change your portfolio in a day. It is what it is. You can change for future. So I started thinking how I was conditionally happy. Whenever I lost money, I was sad. And whenever I made money, I was happy. What a terrible way to live your life, because I'm not the best investor in the world, but the best investors probably make money 60% of the time. Maybe I'm making money close to 50%. So every other day I'm sad. What a terrible way to live your life. So I started thinking about what I could do to be happy. So I started thinking about some things like, well, this song made me happy, and I like to meditate. Let me maybe do that a little bit more. Maybe play some more games with my daughters, play some ping pong, go for a jog, go hiking. And somebody had told me about affirmations, so I started listening to some affirmations. Here's one that is pretty powerful.
blessed. I can do anything. I am smart. I am blessed. I can do anything. I am smart. I am blessed. I can do anything.
I am smart, I am blessed, I can do anything. And there are others. I have a whole list of affirmations on my website. I have inspiring books. I started reading more. So I started putting together a list of what I call happy habits. Oh, sorry, hold on.
I imagine Lin-Manuel Miranda isn't a famous person in the world who hasn't been to see Hamilton. Yeah. I mean, when you were on Broadway, was it just every night?
So maybe put together a list of happy habits. My chapter is called Can Happiness Buy You Money, as opposed to Can Money Buy You Happiness? So here's the punchline, by the way. So I started doing all these happy habits in July into August. July was the few days after July 1st weren't much better, but August and September were my two best relative months managing money in my career. I was up 3%. The stock market was down 7%. We outperformed by 1,000 basis points, or 10% the next 2 months. And I partly attribute that to uplifting songs and other happy habits. I have these affirmations on my website. So let me just, before I conclude, talk about the final G, which is gratitude. It was November of 2006. My mom is on the phone with me. She says, Joel, it hasn't gone down since you left. It's 105 degrees. So I ask her, did you give her the cold compresses? Did you give the baby Tylenol? We did. It still hasn't gone down. So I say to her, we're coming right home. This was the conversation I had with my mom. I was on the Upper East Side with my wife at the time. So we rush home. We see Morgan, pale, clearly not herself. I gave her more cold compresses, even gave her this really cold bath. Her temperature did go down. We called the pediatrician, but pediatrician said if the temperature doesn't go down further on Sunday, to go to the hospital. Well, it did go down further, but on Monday we brought her into the pediatrician anyway. Pediatrician took one look at her and said, get to the hospital. So we rushed Morgan to the hospital. She's not even 9 months old. And the surgeon says, yes, she needs surgery. And we, of course, our only question, is there anything else we can do to avoid this? And he said, no. So Morgan gets hooked up to the wires and the IV tube, and we literally had to hold her down as they gave her the laughing gas to put her out. And I don't remember exactly when I stopped crying, or my wife at the time stopped crying, but I do remember the surgeon coming out and saying the operation was a success and Morgan would be out shortly. And again, nothing really prepared us for her, the IV tube still being in her and all the wires, but a few hours later, she was smiling and herself again. So why do I tell you guys this story? Because rule number 5 is gratitude. And I am truly grateful for having a really happy, courageous, healthy, beautiful 14-year-old daughter, Morgan. So who can you be grateful for? What can you be grateful for? I teach my clients now to write down 5 things they're grateful for every morning and every night, because it's a powerful, powerful way to live your life. And what I found is the more things I'm grateful for and appreciative of now, the more things come into my life that I will be grateful for in the future. So to conclude, I'm going to give away, talking about giving again, I'm going to give away 5 copies of my bestseller, The 9 Money Rules Millionaires Use, to 5 lucky winners. So just email me at joel@salaurmor.com. And I got all the other giveaways here. I got free audio files on my website. I got those money affirmations. I already mentioned the white paper. Text to the 66866 9 Money Rules. And I want to give a special offer for you guys today. I'm starting this new class called Peace and Prosperity Now with this world-renowned yoga and meditation teacher. We're starting on September 29th. It's a 9-week course. We're going to go over the 9 money rules, exercises each week. And what she does is she's going to center you, put you in a state where you're really going to be able to appreciate and live each of those 9 rules. So I'm taking 50% off the regular $500 price for you guys today. Again, it's 9 weeks. I think we'll actually do a bonus week too. I think it'll probably be 10 weeks, and it'll be $249. So I want to give you guys the opportunity. Email me if you're interested. I can send you the PayPal for that. So thank you very much for listening, and I open it up to questions.
So Joel, that 66866 text number, not working.
66866.
Not working.
Okay.
Mine went through.
Mine went through.
Thank you. Thank you for confirming.
Okay.
Must be you, Lloyd.
Hey, it's always me, buddy. Don't you know that?
You need a new provider.
Yeah. I'll try again.
Again, Joel?
So the number is 66866, and then in the text box, it's 9 money rules. I'll put it in the chat.
It's in the chat. It's in the chat.
Oh, it is in the chat. Okay, thanks.
And
Thanks,
also,
Jeff.
Joel, you had a question from Zip. What do you think about vision boards?
Vision boards are really, thank you, Jeff. Vision boards are really powerful. I have a few. They work. I have a great story about Bangkok where I put Bangkok, 3 pictures of Bangkok on my vision board. And I was literally standing on the rooftop of the hotel that I picked randomly, seeing the exact same view that I had of the Golden Palace in Bangkok just 2.5 years earlier. So crazy things like that can happen. I wouldn't put a time frame on them. Some people say, oh, this is my vision board for 2020 and I got to travel the world. Well, that's kind of tough, right? So don't put a time frame on it. Don't put deadlines on things. Just know that they will come at the right time, at the right place.
I heard a great tip about vision boards, and that was to put the words "at least" or something like that, so that you're not limiting what you're visioning.
That's a great. Thanks, Jeff. Yeah. So I also recommend, not only with vision boards or with any dreaming, to put, why limit yourself, right? My goal is to help at least 100,000 people become financially free. I'm not going to say I'm going to help 100,000 people become financially free. Why stop there?
Good presentation. Just wanted to let you know that I used to work on the northeast corner of 54th and Madison.
There are no coincidences. I say only synchronicities. Thanks for that, Dick.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was very impressed with all your experience and all your accomplishments, but especially about climbing Huayna Picchu at 55. I did that when I was 19 and it was hard. So I'm from Peru, by the way.
Yeah, we did it pretty fast. So I mentioned Mike Dooley. Mike is actually on the cover of both of my books. I got him to give a testimonial for both of them. And I actually took the trip with him. And then this picture on the cover of the book,
That's awesome.
that was taken by his brother, Andy Dooley, who actually wrote the foreword to my book. So very synchronistic things happen. And so Mike led the hike, and I think he was 58 or 59 at the time. And he did it in like, I don't know, 47 minutes, something crazy. Like he almost ran it with a woman who was like, 29. And, we're sauntering up. I did it with a bunch of people. But it was pretty steep at parts. Yeah, it was, but it was good exercise.
Any other questions for Joel?
I just wanted to remark, my sister lived at 25 West 54th Street for a number of years. And I also want to say you set the bar pretty high for Mark. So when he gives his speech.
I'll just personally say that, listen to a lot of these kinds of speeches, talks. I didn't hear any hype. I didn't hear any BS. I liked the way it flowed. You did an outstanding job, and I'm definitely going to get the book, and I'm actually going to read it.
Maybe you'll win it. You'll be one of those 5.
Well, yeah, I've got a It's going out as soon as we're done with this. Anything? How about we go off mic and let's give him a round of applause? How's that? Okay. Great. I know
Thanks
Joel
so much for having me, Randy, Jeff. I really appreciate you.
Great job, Jeff. Thank you for finding him. It was awesome. I know.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up on Long Island, in Massapequa.
I grew up in Seaford.
Oh my God, one town over.
That's it.
I'm a bit older than you, I think, though.
I think you're probably.
I think you're wrong.
Think you're wrong.
Randy, would you please save the chat?
Should I stop it now?
No, just save the chat.
It's automatically saving. It was supposed to automatically start, so.
Got it.
So I'll let it run until we're done. Any other final comments for Joel? Any other thanks or?
His email is there in the chat for folks.
Right. And thanks, Jeff, for finding another good one.
You're welcome.
Great.
Thank you, Joel. That was good.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Really appreciate it.
We have, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, no, I was going to say we got about 5 minutes. Any quick announcements before we close? Jeff, you got anybody teed up?
Well, we got a future speaker. It's not next week. Mark McIntosh is here with us today. He's speaking. You'll have to say the date, Mark, because I don't know it off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's Friday, August 14th, and it's 7 steps to grow your revenues using LinkedIn.
Great. I'm looking forward to that personally.
Yeah, I'm excited. So thanks for having me.
And I also need to apologize to those of you who got lost in the internet using last week's thing. David did try multiple times to send out several emails reminding people that the link had been changed, but maybe it wasn't all that obvious for a couple, and we apologize for that in advance. We're not trying to do anything secretive, but Dave needed some time away. And let's just leave it at that. Okay.
We just had the recurring event, so that's why it's still.
Right. Well, he did send out. I mean, if you go back to Meetup.
No, I know, but I didn't. I
do the same thing for other groups too.
Yeah.
So, but Lisa was here for backup, and Mark was here, and you all did a great job. So I will just close with the way David closes. So I just thank everybody, particularly Joe, for your sharing your most important gift, your time. And with that, I'll just leave the mic open for a few minutes and then we'll end. Okay? Joel, again, thanks very much.
Randy.
Really appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Lisa, for being there, just in case I needed you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Randy, for heading it up today.
Give Dave a good report.
Absolutely. You got
Thanks a lot.
See you, Dick.
Thank you.
Todd, good job today.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.